Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft on the JFS. I'm starting off today's episode here at my little old starter shack at spawn, you know, the place where I committed absolutely no crimes whatsoever. And I just came here to get some stuff ready to go caving because if you remember last episode I talked about doing a nice rambly caving video all about my trip to Canada, which was now nearly 4 months ago, right? January, July, August, September, October, no. Yeah, so we're getting on. We're getting on there. And I need to do it soon because my memories are fading fast. However, I'm actually not going to do a Canada caving ramble today. I'm in the midst of creating a vlog with all the footage I took. And I think it'll be better to do the ramble after I've made the vlog, because that would hopefully rekindle loads of memories of my trip there, and it should make it better. And also, I've got a newer trip to talk about, so I might as well talk about this one whilst it's fresh in my memory. And that is my little trip to Disneyland Paris. I've just come back, and boy, oh, I'm so inspired to just go and make Disneyland on the server now. And it's actually one of the things I mentioned about before, making JFS World, Jsano Land, Morge World, whatever, into a Disneyland sort of area with different themed worlds. And oh, I want to do that more than ever now. In fact, I want to go back and play Theme Park World. I want to go play Planet Coaster. I want to go play Roller Coaster Tycoon. I want to do everything. I'm just in a super theme parky mode. And I know that's not going to last because it's just that I've just come back from it. But oh man, I want to build a big castle and I just want to do everything. But not now. That's not for today. No, today is going to be a caving and a ramble just about the trip, what I thought of the rides, what I thought of the whole place in general. One little problem though is I still need to find a cave. I haven't actually done that yet. I've got my cup of tea ready, which is going cold quick. Haven't really got anywhere to cave yet, so I might need to cut and come back when I've got a cave. How's that sound? See you in a little bit. Oh, okay, I found one finally. Jeez, oh my, that took ages. That took so long. My tea has now pretty much gone cold, which is great. But I think I found a decent looking cave. I have no clue really. I haven't even explored it. I just found a cave and thought, screw it. Let's get started. So, let's put that on. Now you can see how much I've dug around to try and find a cave. Let's just hope this is good. And let me get started. So, Disneyland Paris. Yes. I recently went for 3 days with my partner. Just come back the other day. It was his idea to do it, and I thought, you know what? I've never been to Disneyland. I've never really had the chance to go to Disneyland since we've never really had like young kids in the family that you would take usually. So I thought, you know what? Screw it. It's not just for kids, adults. You know, there are some crazy Disney sort of fanatics out there. Ooh. So yeah, let's give it a go. Booked the trip a little while ago. Got a good deal. Got sort of a Eurostar train, hotel, park entry deal. And yeah, we left on I don't know when this is going up, but I need a shovel. Thank you. We left on Wednesday morning. Got the Eurostar and arrived. We had to change at Lille Europe or somewhere like that, and then get SV. No, what's that train? What's the train line called in France? TGSV or something into Oh god, I'm going to butcher some French now. Into Marne-la-Vallée Chessy or something like that. It's basically Disneyland station. It's the station that everyone goes to just for Disneyland. And yeah, so we got there on the Wednesday at about it was about midday. A little bit of travelling. So it was about 12 o'clock-ish when we got in. We got some sort of Disney Express luggage thing, so that basically you gave them your suitcases and they take it to the hotel for you. So that means you don't have to waste any time. You don't have to waste any time checking in. You can go straight from the train into the park and straight on the ride. So that's exactly what we did. We stayed at one of the proper like actual Disney hotels, the Santa Fe one, which is sort of South American cars based. One of the cheaper ones. You know, we're not rich. We didn't go for like the fancy. What's one of the new fancy ones called? Like the New York one or the Newport Bay, or like the big one that's literally on the gates of Disneyland Park, the Disney Hotel. Nah, I ain't got the money for that. But we just got the sort of cheapish. I mean, it's not. It's cheaper to get one that's outside of Disneyland entirely, hotel wise. But yeah, it was part of the package, so we just did that. By the way, there may be a lot of you have no clue what I'm talking about with like locations, and you know, Europeans might. I'm sure a lot of you might have gone to. Oh my God, the mob's here. Might have gone to Disneyland Paris, but Americans or whatever. You probably went to, you know, one of the big ones that started off in California, or probably Florida, right? Oh, you need to stop. Stop and go away. Don't ruin my ramble. There's so many skeletons! But, you know, I can't travel all the way over to Florida or California or Tokyo. So my trip to Disneyland Paris was not the happiest place on earth, but it was like the 4th happiest place on earth. Anyway, let me go back to it. So yeah, we gave them our suitcases. They took them over to Santa Fe Hotel, and we went straight into the park. Now, I've tried to write down a list of all the stuff we did in pretty much the order we did it. Might have got some of it wrong, but I'll give it a go in terms of rides and attractions. Did that creeper just die? That's random. There are so many skellies. Okay, good. So we walked in, and obviously the first thing you do, you go through the main gates. We went into the Disneyland Park, not the studios bit. We went in there later. There's 2 parks, and you know, you're greeted by the street. And like a lot of this stuff is copied, isn't it? Like a lot of the parks are identical in sort of the layout. So even if this is Paris, you'll probably recognise it if you've been to one in America or whatever. So bye, killer. Yeah, you might recognise it. So Main Street, sort of the bit when you first walk in. It's a big row of sort of American, not frontier. I don't know when you'd theme it, like early colonial town. Like, oh well, actually, I could get into. Apparently, I didn't know this. Like, I thought they were all just sort of old-timey American buildings, but reading up on it afterwards, it's apparently themed in such a way that you start at the beginning of the street in sort of like 1890s, and as you go up the street, the shops and buildings are meant to sort of change with the time period and go more into like the 1920s, because it starts with like emporiums and stuff like that, and then it moves into like baseball themed shops. Oh, I'm losing my voice by the end of it. So yeah, time shift, and that's even reflected in the lighting. One of the first things I noticed when I walked through the park was they actually had proper gas lights, like flame lanterns along the street, and then by the end of it, it changes into electric lights. I didn't even notice that at the time, but that sort of detail is the sort of stuff that I soon realised was yeah, like common throughout the whole park. There's a reason why they're so massively popular. It's because the attention to detail is second to none. That being said, I've read since going on the trip that Disneyland Paris had a lot of trouble, like financial difficulties when it opened, and nearly closed down like twice because of less than stellar sort of customers and guests and money and revenue and that sort of stuff. So, but that's another story. I'm not going to get into that. So yeah, walked down Main Street, went down. They have like 2 arcades either side. You can walk through them, and it's all so warm and inviting. And it really reminded me of what's the game called? BioShock Infinite. That sort of idyllic American image of the yeah, like late 1800s and all the stuff with Comstock and things. It really reminded me of that, and liberty and freedom and all that jazz. I'm going to have to turn down mobs, they're too loud. Oh, and if I have any pictures, I don't think I won't have many pictures, but if I do have any suitable ones, I will. I'll put them on the screen. Maybe we'll see. I definitely just saw it. Yeah. So what's the first thing you do when you go to Disneyland? Obviously you go down the street and you look at the big castle. All of them, they've all got different castles. The one for Paris is Sleeping Beauty. I think it's Sleeping Beauty's castle. Yeah, it's pretty nice. One of the things I did know about Disneyland, because I didn't know much before going, but one of the things I did know is how they use the sort of forced perspective to make things seem bigger or further away. Like what they do with the castle, they make, you know, the top of it smaller to look like it's higher and all that jazz. And yeah, it looked great. It looked really cool. It's one of those things. It's funny because you know, I've seen so many pictures of it and it's so iconic. I mean, maybe not that particular one, but you know, variations of the Disney castle. And it's like, oh yeah, there it is. So we walked through there. There's actually loads of shops inside. We saw underneath it there's a big animatronic dragon in the sort of caves underneath the castle. That was cool. A sleeping dragon that wakes up and puffs out some smoke. Oh, I didn't bring a bucket. In fact, while I'm here, let's chuck away some junk. Like that, and the bones, and that. But, in terms of rides, what did we do first? So, if you don't know, Disneyland Paris, anyway, is made up of 4... Is it 4? Might be 5. Hang on, let me count. Like, themed zones. So you got Frontierland, which is cowboy, Western. You've got Adventureland, which is sort of, I think with this one it was like Aladdin, like Arabia, that sort of thing. Fantasyland, which is your fairy tale, medieval villages, Bavarian style stuff. And then Discoveryland, which I think is called Tomorrowland in the American ones, but Discoveryland is like the future. In this case, Paris's one was steampunky. And is that it? I think that is it. Yeah. So we walked through to Adventureland, and that is where they had the first ride I went on. I do remember the first one. That was Pirates of the Caribbean, which is not a particularly exhilarating ride to begin with. It's basically just a sort of a... Is it dark ride? I don't know the right term, but full of animatronics and loads of pirates and some cool effects every now and then, like how they sort of turn into ghosts, ghost pirates and that sort of stuff. And you know me, I love my pirate themed. I love Monkey Island, all that sort of stuff. So that was great. Just the detail is insane, and the music. Now, one of the things is it's all in French. Sometimes there's English dubs or translations, but so they were singing "Yo ho ho ho, a pirate's life for me," but it was all in French. So yeah, that I can't complain because I was in France, but it's just something I wasn't expecting straight away, especially at the end when you see a French Johnny Depp, French Captain Jack at the end on the big pile of treasure. But yeah, that was good. And I do remember something about the smell of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I'm not sure whether it's applicable to the one in Paris, but I remember reading like it's a smell that people really like. It's like some fake... I don't even know how you describe it, but it definitely did have a nice... Was it nice? Maybe not nice, but it did have a smell anyway, the ride. Every now and then it was tinged with chlorine because of the water, but you would get a whiff of some sort of tropical something or other, foreign smell. Yeah, after that we went on to, so close by that was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril. Now again, you know me, I love Indiana Jones. Off to a great start. I love pirates, I love Indiana Jones, so I was looking forward to that ride. It was the first sort of coaster, a proper roller coaster with loops and spins and whatever. So in the past I've not really been a massive coaster fan. I'm a bit of a wuss, if I'm honest with you. But I figured, hey, I'm in Disney, I need to pluck up the courage and actually do it. I've come all this way. And also, I developed a test over the 3 days I was there. If I saw a little kid in the queue, you know, and by little kid I mean, if there was like a little boy or girl that was around or below 10 years old, I would do it. Because if they're going to do it, there's no excuse for me not to. So I did see a little girl in the queue for Indiana Jones. That was all good. However, so we got on the ride. This being a Wednesday, midweek, it's quite cold. It's November. Still not really into the Christmassy stuff yet. It was really quiet. Like, there was not many long queues at all. I think the most we ever queued during the whole trip was about half an hour. So that was great. Like, we picked a good time to go. It just was a bit chilly. Yeah, so we strolled right into Indiana Jones. I didn't really get to enjoy the ride though, because silly me, my first roller coaster, I didn't really think about the problem of wearing glasses. And I was thinking before, should I take off my glasses? Do I need to? How strong is the force going to be of the loop and the banks and the twists and the turns? But I thought, nah. I just saw someone else with their glasses on. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I left them on. Obviously, the other person had tighter glasses than I do, because like 5 seconds into the ride, and it's not a very long ride, but 5 seconds in, my glasses, I can feel them coming loose, and boom, we hit a loop. I think we hit a loop. My glasses fly off my face, and somehow, in the midst of it all, I managed to catch them in my hands as they dropped from my face, just as they're about to fly off and, I don't know, break the roller coaster and derail and kill everyone. But that didn't happen. I caught them, and for the rest of the for the rest of the ride, my eyes were just glued to my hands, holding these glasses, like my heart in my mouth. Because if I'd lost these glasses, I didn't bring a spare pair, and I would have. I mean, I would have been able to see, but everything would have been blurry. I would have not, you know, been able to appreciate the park at all. So yeah, I was terrified. And annoyingly, that ride, the Indiana Jones one, was closed the next time we tried to go, so I could never go on it again. That was the only time I went, and it was horrible. You know, for my own stupid reasons, I should have put my glasses in my pocket. But I soon learned my lesson, and yeah, didn't risk it from that point onwards. That would have been so bad. Man, those glasses, they're right there. Here they are. These little glasses right here. Oh, you have been so much. I nearly lost you in a Foo Fighters concert as well. But no, you survived. You power on, don't you, little things? Well done. Yeah, so anyway, there's loads of rides left. I need to hurry up. How long have we been recording for? 15 minutes. Jeez, oh my. Okay, might need to be a two-parter. Who knows? I'll skip through some of these though, because some you can't really talk about much. So after that, we went through Frontier Town, which is the cowboy town. Again, another thing I loved. It was basically just like it was like me building Tombstone on the old JFS server, season 3. Like, I love Wild West towns, and they have like a little mini one, and that's where things like Phantom Manor is, and also the big coaster, the Thunder Mountain. That's what it's called, which I'll get onto later. So we walked through there. The queue was too long for Thunder Mountain, though, so we didn't go on that. I say too long, but we just had other things to do. Get out of the way, creeper. So what was the next thing we did? There's a little Thunder Mountain is in the middle of a lake, and around the lake is a riverboat. So we went on the riverboat. Well, you know, after that exhilarating, scary Indiana Jones ride, I needed a little break. So nice, relaxing trip around the river, lake, I should say. Yeah, very simple, just nice to do. After that, so yeah, after the nice relaxing thing, back to another big scary one. Probably the one that most people would recognise for Disneyland Paris. It's like the big ride, and that is Space Mountain, or Hyperspace Mountain it's now called, because it's now been redone to be Star Warsy. I was actually reading a lot about Space Mountain, and again, I could get into this, but it's not really that related. But basically, Space Mountain was the ride that saved Disneyland Paris because it was on the brink of collapsing, and that was the one sort of trick they could pull, the one card up their sleeve to try and make people come back to the park in like 1995, I think it opened. And the reason for that is because this Disneyland Paris's Space Mountain is probably the best one, like better than the ones in America even. Oh, hello down there. It's kind of weird though, because so yeah, when it first opened, obviously it wasn't Star Wars themed back then. It was based on the steampunky Jules Verne idea of what was his book called? From the Earth to the Moon or something like that. So yeah, it's all about steampunky being blasted out of a big cannon into space and whizzing around and all these inversions and banking and whatsamajigger. Now, I don't know, I feel like I would have preferred to have seen it like that, because all they've really done is painted Star Wars over the top of it. They haven't really changed it much to suit it, and if anything, they've done a bit of a naff job. Like, they've just put projections of TIE fighters and Death Stars and Star Destroyers on screens as you fly past them, and that's about it. Doesn't really match the actual ride itself. You can tell it's a bit lazy. I mean, it's still great for the fact of like what you actually do. Like, the track is still the same, but yeah, just the stuff around it's not as good. But that was great. Put my glasses in my pocket that time, so I didn't have to worry about that. And one of the things I noticed was like, when you don't wear, if you wear glasses normally, and then you don't wear them, and you do something like that, you realise the amount of air, the amount of air on my eyes during that ride. This is something I've never experienced in a long time. But yeah, it's making my eyes water so much. So I came off the ride probably looking like I was crying. But I actually really enjoyed it. I think this trip has really helped me overcome the... I'm going around in circles, aren't I? The little fear I had of big coasters. Now, I won't go on any other... I won't go on like super crazy ones. There was that one in England a couple of years ago that... And this is getting into a whole other issue. I know that roller coasters are usually very, very safe, and you only hear about accidents when they rarely occur. But there was one in the UK called the Smiler at a place called Alton Towers, and I think back in 2016 or something went wrong, and I think 2 women had to have their legs amputated, or one of them anyway. So yeah, ones like that, I don't want to do. But yeah. Who knows? Where's the line? Where'd you cut it off? So anyway, back to Disneyland. After Space Mountain, we met Darth Vader. You know, as you do. There's a little photo opportunity with Darth Vader, which I thought was going to be really cheesy and naff. And don't get me wrong, it was, but like it was still done pretty well. Like, so we were waiting around the corner for the people in front of us to have their go. And then suddenly, Darth Vader just like turns around the corner really abruptly, and it actually made me jump. I actually got a bit scared because it's really tall, and the costume's really good, and it has this sort of set of voice recordings to play during you're doing a little photo op. So like he sort of starts to interrogate you about the rebel plans, and it makes you point and do all sorts of poses for the camera. And as part of the package we got the Disney Photo Pass thing, which makes it so you can just scan a card and it saves your photos automatically. So that's pretty cool. You get high quality versions of them you can download at home. So yeah, we met Darth Vader. Very nice. And after that, we went to go look at some of the parades. So yeah, they had a couple parades on. Christmas parade, being Christmas time. And the parades just go down the main street and around the centre roundabout bit. They're great. Like, the amount of effort that goes into doing these parades twice a day, probably 4 times if you include all of them, it's just insane. Like the music, all the people dancing, and the dancing is not terribly like fancy, but you know it's all in sync and choreographed, so you know, seeing Goofy bust some moves. Pretty good, pretty fun. What else was there? Oh yeah, and then during the parade they make it snow. Like, how Disney can you get? They make it snow with these fake foam bubble things. I guess they're at the top of the buildings in the street, and it just sort of starts spitting out little bits of foam that that looks like snowflakes. So magical, so magical. The parades were great. The music, I do feel for the actors though. They must have to hear that music so much. I was getting sick of it after 2.5 days. But yeah, the Disney Christmas song and what was the other one they were doing? It was like Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday recently, so it was a song about that. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Yeah. It's just that over and over again. But yeah, parades are good. We went to go eat. We had some sort of half-board buffet plan, so we ate for the first night at Plaza Gardens, which is right in the middle of the park, right next to the castle. Very pleasant food. I can't say like it wasn't terrible food by any stretch of the imagination. If you have like high, if you have quite high taste, then you probably find it a bit grotty. But I don't. I'm a man of simple tastes and pleasures. So the food was very nice. Oh man, the pork belly. They had these pork belly slices. They were so good. Yeah, great stuff. I love the buffet. I ate too much and I felt sick, as Naxa would probably guess. So yeah, not really much else to say about the food. What are we on now? Oh my god, we're on 25 minutes at least. Oh, I'm not even at the end of the first day yet. This might need to be a two-parter then. If it is, so be it. Although actually that was the end of the first day, apart from one thing, which was the Disney Illuminations. Go on, that's what I want you to do. So that's the sort of nighttime show they have. Basically, it's a way to get all the guests in one place, so then they can tell them to bugger off home, because that's when the park closes. Closes at about 7 o'clock. So yeah, Disney Illuminations. It's like a big projection onto the castle. These projectors, you've probably seen some of the videos of stuff like this where they project something onto the whole front of a building and make it look like something else. It's insane how they do it. Like, the projectors are so far. I looked back, they're so far away compared to the actual castle, but they're so powerful, and it's like, it's so clear. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, it was like a sort of Disney montage of all the films on top of the castle, and like loads of special effects and stuff. Loads of flame fireballs and fireworks and lasers. It was great. Like, look up a YouTube clip of it. It's online. The amount of people taking videos and stuff. It was great. That first night, we didn't get a great position because we sort of rushed out of eating at the Plaza Gardens place. So yeah, our spot was a bit naff. Like, loads of people in front of us, all that sort of stuff. We did go see it the next night though, and we got a better spot, so that's good. What else? What else is there? So yeah, that was the end of the first day. We got a lot squeezed into like 6 hours, so I was really pleased with that. And yeah, like I said, it was so quiet. Well, I have nothing to compare it to, but I imagine in the summer the queues could be normally an hour at least. So we had none of that. We could just usually waltz, and we had like an app which tells you all the waiting times, so you can sort of plan ahead and be like, okay, well this is now only 5 minutes, let's go there, and then maybe this one would have quietened up by then. But yeah, we went back to the Santa Fe Hotel and just collapsed and slept straight away because we were both knackered. A very long day, a lot of walking. My feet were aching, and they ached for the next 2 days afterwards. Felt very old. But yeah, on to Thursday. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, we got up early because Disney have a thing for... Come on. Come on. There we go. For guests who stay at Disney hotels and not just a third-party one, you get a little bit called extra magic time, where you can go into the park an hour earlier than everyone else. So we did that. We got our extra magic time. And what did we do? Well, actually, first we had... Oh, no, we didn't. We went on to Thunder Mountain. Yes, so it was too busy before. So we went back in the morning. And it was nice and quick. And it was also really misty. And it actually kind of stayed misty for the next 2 days, which is a bit of a shame, because it did make things look foggy and a bit gloomy, a bit grey. But hey, that's France for you. That's just European weather like that. But that kind of added to the effect of Thunder Mountain, in a way. And Thunder Mountain, man, that's just like the perfect level of roller coaster for me. Oh God, not too crazy, but had like some really good bits, like parts where you think you're gonna hit your head, but then you dip down quickly, and then bits with spraying smoke in your face, and yeah, it was great. And again, cowboy themed, that sort of mining town theme, minecart stuff. Loved it a lot. Definitely. Was it as good as Hyperspace? Yeah, maybe. I think I might have preferred it more, you know. So yeah, we did that early in the morning, got that out of the way. And then we went over to... We got a fast pass for it. A fast pass is just a little thing you can do where it's pretty much like booking a slot for a ride. So it's free, and you go up to a counter, you scan your pass, your park pass, and it says come back between, and it's usually like an hour later, come back between 10:30 and 11, and you can go to the fast pass queue, which skips a big bit of it and saves you time. So we did that for Thunder Mountain, because by that point the queue got pretty long and we wanted to go on it again. And in the meantime, we went off to Discoveryland part, the future part where Space Mountain is. We went on to Buzz Lightyear Blastem or something like that. It's one of those ones where you shoot targets on the wall and you get a score at the end. I was absolutely dire at that. Mate, I'm going to blame it on a faulty gun. Like, my gun didn't work properly. But I was trying to shoot Zurg and it didn't work, alright? I was aiming, I swear I was aiming at him. Nothing. I think my total score was like 9,000 in the end, when you can get scores of hundreds of thousands. So, yeah, not my finest moment. Am I run out of arrows? Oh no. Okay. Great. But yeah, we went on that mainly because there was no queue. However, when we looked later on in the day, that one was always really busy. I didn't think it would be that popular. Like, it was good, but those sort of rides you can get anywhere. Like the shoot 'em, zap 'em. Anyway, I guess it was Toy Story themed. But also in the morning, when it was still empty, we went on to Star Tours, which is like a 4D thing where you're in front of a big screen and the whole thing moves. It was okay. It wasn't great though. I don't know. One of the problems with that sort of stuff for me is often with these 4D things, like the 3D is completely lost on me because of my dodgy eye. My left eye is a bit lazy, as in it just doesn't work very well. That's why I wear glasses. But yeah, that kind of means that the 3D stuff never really works. It never has, in my whole life. 3D stuff. It's very hit or miss. It did work later on with another ride, but for the Star Wars Star Tours, no, not at all. But it was alright. And again, no queue. In fact, I think I probably enjoyed, this is really bad, but I think I enjoyed the queuing set design stuff more than the actual ride. Like, they went all out with the way the queuing system looks, and they had C-3PO, animatronic version, loads of droids everywhere. That was great. Love that stuff. What else after that? Went on to Space Mountain again, because that was very quick. No line there. There's Shorstin. And yeah, it's a really good ride. Very, very good. Especially that bit right at the beginning where it stops you at an angle and then it blasts you out of the cannon really, really quickly. Great stuff. What else was there? I think we're not. Oh, I'm trying to follow my list here. We went back onto Thunder Mountain with our fast pass. Just as good the second time. I'm trying to think of anything specific about that ride. After the trip, I did read about how a few years ago someone got injured by a falling rock, like fake rock in the ride. Apparently there was a rock fall part, but then someone got hit by a fiberglass rock. Didn't die, thank God, but then they got rid of the rock falling part. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. After that, yeah, I think we went on to Pirates of the Caribbean again at some point. And the only reason I bring this up is because I want to rant. It had to come at some point, but the second time we went on to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, my God, were the people around us so annoying with their phones. Smartphones are, we love smartphones. They're great. Couldn't live without them, really. Computers in our pockets, but man, do they make for some annoying circumstances. Especially when you're in a dark ride, okay? Emphasis on the word dark. And someone behind you decides to try and record the whole bloody thing with their flash on. And you know how bright smartphone torch flashes are now, the LEDs, they're bloody powerful. And so for about, like, I don't know, it wasn't terribly long, but for about 5 minutes, this guy was filming the whole of the dark ride, Pirates of the Caribbean thing, with his big flash on, showing up, like, making all these massive shadows, showing the bits that you shouldn't see, like all the walls. What an idiot! Like, why would you try and capture the inside of a dark ride when A, it's meant to be dark, and B, you really think that your bloody Samsung Galaxy whatever is going to take a better video of that ride than some professional one that's probably already online? Probably not. Not when you're shaking all over the place and there's people talking and everything. So, thankfully, someone piped up on the intercom and told him to turn his flash off. Some lady yelled at him, which I was so happy about. Annoyingly, someone in front of us then did the same thing. They didn't have the flash on constantly, but they did take pictures with the flash on, which is almost as bad. And she didn't get told off, which she should have, because it's just ruining the experience. It's not the point of rides. Don't try and capture every single little thing. Just enjoy the moment. God. I'm sure, I hope other people feel that way, and I don't sound like a grouchy old git, but really, just, I know people want to make memories, but are you really ever going to sit down and really watch that video again? Are you? Probably not. Probably not. Oh, God. So, yeah. Rant over. Let's move on. What else? Then we went over to Fantasyland, because we sort of missed that part before. And that's the bit with, yeah, all the fairy tale stuff, like Peter Pan's Flight. This is a bizarre one for me. Peter Pan's Flight, whenever we looked on the app that told you waiting times, Peter Pan's Flight was always 40 to 60 minutes. Very popular. I wasn't sure what sort of ride it was. I just thought, oh, it must be a really good one. We got a fast pass for that so that we could skip the queue. And we went on it. It's not that good. It's not that good. It's okay. It's sort of you're on a floating, flying pirate ship, and you travel through the scenes of Peter Pan, like over London, and then past Captain Hook fighting the crocodile and stuff like that. But yeah, some parts of it were pretty. Lots of fibre optic lights. The bit where you go over London, like an aerial view, it was good, but it definitely wasn't a 60-minute wait. It was so short. Such a short ride. Anyway, so we did that. We did things like there's a little hedge maze based on Alice in Wonderland and the sort of Queen of Hearts thing. That was good. There's a lot of kiddie things in Fantasyland which we didn't do. Not necessarily kiddie, but not as interesting things like teacups. You can do teacups anywhere, like Mad Hatter's teacups. Didn't bother with that. Didn't bother with the carousel because although it was a nice carousel, it's just a carousel. We did do It's a Small World though. You have to, don't you? If you go to Disney, You have to do It's a Small World. It's a small world after all. Now, unlike Lisa Simpson, I didn't drink the water and think I was the Lizard Queen. I am the Lizard Queen. But I really wanted to. I really wanted just a little taste. But I didn't want to get kicked out of the park. So I didn't follow suit with that.
I am the Lizard Queen!
However, It's a Small World. Ooh, sneaky creeper. Again, I didn't really think it was that good. It was alright. I mean, these are all things are relative here. Like, obviously, it's an amazing feat of engineering and everything, but yeah, just didn't tickle my fancy really. But that being said, the tune did still get stuck in my head, so it still got to me. What's next? By that point, we sort of had done everything we wanted to in the main park, so then we moved over to Walt Disney Studios Park, which is the second park in Disneyland Paris, and it's a bit like the what's the equivalent in America? It's like California something. Anyway, it's the one that's all about like other film licenses and stuff like that. We went in there, and the first one we did, oh yes, was Tower of Terror. That is a great ride. That has to be up there, one of my favourites. Just everything about that ride, from the actual ride itself to the whole theming around it, is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The decoration as you go into the hotel, and it's meant to be this old, abandoned, spooky one. And I had no idea at all that it was had sort of things from the Twilight Zone in it. No clue. So when we went into this little pre-area and watched a video, and it started with the Twilight intro, you know, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Oh my god, it was great. And apparently there's loads of references to Twilight Zone in places, but I just completely missed them. But yeah, I had Rod Sterling up there in French doing his thing and introducing the story about the guest who was zapped, and then yeah. But I think what else made that ride really good is the employee that sort of took us and put us in the elevator. Like, he was really into character. Like, he was dressed as a bellboy, and he was being suitably creepy. Like, he was being proper creepy and wide-eyed and floating about us, making sure we're, you know, following all the right steps, you know. But yeah, the ride itself, you know, if you don't know what it is, it's all about sort of going to different levels of a hotel and dropping and flying up between them. So you get that sort of feeling of weightlessness, and your stomach feels weird, and at one point it opens up, and it opens up to literally the outside of the ride, so you see the rest of the park. Oh, it's amazing. It's so good. I wish I could have went on that. I only went on it once. I think if I should have went on it more than once, but yeah, we just happened to go when it was quite quiet. And also, there is a long wait still. Like, the whole setting up is still quite a while. But great ride. Honestly, very, very good. Highly recommend. All the effects were great in it as well. What else after that? We went on to a bit of a weird one. The Rock and Roller Coaster, which was okay. Oh, sorry. The full name is Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith. That's the random bit about this ride. It, for some reason, has Aerosmith attached to it. And all that really means is that when you're on it, it plays Dude Looks Like a Lady as it goes through some of the neon lights and stuff and times it to that song. The ride itself was good. It was a bit like, I thought it was a bit like Hyperspace Mountain, but just with a bit more visibility. Like, Hyperspace Mountain is completely pitch black for the most part, and you just see a few screens. But Rock and Roller Coaster, you can sort of see more of the track when you're inside it. It's all inside, which I actually kind of preferred in a way. I liked being able to see the ride itself. Maybe not as scary, but just I liked it more, just sort of behind the scenes stuff. Oh my god, the mob's down there. And I haven't got any arrows, have I? Oh. Oh. But we are nearing the end actually, because after that, what did we do? We saw the Art of Disney, which was a sort of more museum-y type thing. Look around, look at some of the stuff from the archives. There's this sort of cheesy interactive talk by someone about the animators and how things can look different before it reaches the final film. So it had crap, what's the character's name? The little dragon from Mulan, voiced by Eddie Murphy. Him. A little story about how he looked completely different during pre-production, had two heads and all this sort of stuff. It was okay, but you could tell it's quite aged. Like the video that we watched was very, very clearly from the mid-90s, so it probably needs an update, to be honest. Oh, excuse me. After that, we went and watched the Disney Illuminations again. Oh, that's not my sword. Like I said, this time we got a really good view. Got it right smack bang in front of the castle, saw everything. You could really feel the heat from the fire effects as well. But yeah, they were great. Great stuff. And then we went to go eat at the hotel at La Cantina, which is, yeah, the Cars themed restaurant buffet. Buffet again, very good. Kind of fajitas, chili, pasta. Decent food. And that was it. That was Thursday. So 2 nights. Friday was our last day, and our train back home was at about 3-4 o'clock. So we didn't have much time in the park. We had to make the most of our last morning there, really. So what did we do? There was one part of Disney Studios that we didn't really explore. So that's what we did on the Friday morning. We had breakfast first at the Hyperion, Cafe Hyperion, which is the steampunky restaurant in Discoveryland. And after that, yeah, went back to Disney Studios to the Toy Story part of it, and also the Ratatouille part. So we did, yeah, we went to Toy Story and did the RC Racer. Oh god, which is kind of like a big U-shaped, I don't know what you call it. It's not really a roller coaster. It's just one of those. Yeah, so it just does this. So like at one point you're pretty much vertical, and then it goes back, and again you're vertical, and just does that for a little bit and then stops. Doesn't really seem like much. It's probably like the most misleading, maybe. That's not the right word, but you think it's going to be alright. Like, oh, it's just this little U-shaped track. It's not very big, not very fast. It's going to be alright. No! It's terrifying. I don't know, I just wasn't expecting it to be that vertical. It really does seem like you're falling at one point. It's horrible. And the funniest thing is, it's this horrible feeling, all whilst you're on this lovely Toy Story themed ride with the little Scalextrics, no, not Scalextrics, RC green car thing. Yeah, quite a mismatch of emotions. So we did that. Then we didn't do some of the other stuff because that was... Oh my god, what was that noise? Did someone just turn into an evil one? I don't know. A drowned, that's the word I was trying to think of. Who knows? But yeah, there was like a Slinky Dog one, but that was quite a kiddie one. There's also one about like a parachute drop based on the Army Men from Toy Story. Didn't do that one. No particular reason why. I think I was just a big wuss. Didn't want to do it. Then we did a Ratatouille ride. There's a whole little section of the Disney Studios based on Paris and yeah, the Ratatouille film. Makes sense, I guess, doesn't it? You know, probably one of the only big Disney things to feature Paris or France as like the main thing. The Ratatouille ride, again, it's a bit like one of those. It's a bit like Star Tours in that you're watching something and you get 4D effects like shaking or not shaking, but like water in your face when there's like something on screen, and heat when you're passing over something hot. So, oh god, what's going on here? Get off. It was like that, but the thing that impressed me most, I should have said, so like, you're like a little mouse or rat escaping the kitchen. Oh, sorry about the awkward cut. I just had to cough quite a lot. Where was I? Oh yeah, Ratatouille ride. You're like a rat escaping from the kitchen and running around the restaurant trying to be caught. That's all well and good. The thing that impressed me most about that ride, though, is the actual engineering of it. It's a rail. How do you describe it? Railless. I don't know how it works. I guess it's to do with magnets, but basically the thing that you're in, the little seating bit, which is a giant mouse in this case, a giant rat, has no wheels, and well, maybe it has wheels, but it's not on any rail, and it just sort of floats about the surface. So you look down, it's just a flat floor, and what that means is they move so freely. It's like you're in a go-kart. It all moves so in sync and like down to a T, and it also means that like you're moving in and out between different riders really quickly. I can't really describe it very well, but honestly, it was really weird to see because it seemed so effortless the way it was moving about. So it would move into one section of the ride, and you wouldn't even really notice it to an extent because it's just so smooth, and it would like spin you around the right way, and oh, it's great. Very, very good. I think that's probably one of the most impressive bits. I think it's because it's quite a new ride as well, one of the newest ones there. The only thing that we didn't get to do, like one of the only main ones we wanted to and we didn't get the chance to, was, oh my god, those zombies. Crush's Coaster, which is based on the sea turtle from Finding Nemo. I think it's a coaster that like spins at the same time because you're on a turtle shell. Didn't get to go on that. The queue was always way too long, like 60 minutes plus, really. Or 40 minutes. 40 to 60 minutes, which we just didn't have time for. We were spoiled. We were spoiled for the 2 days, and we didn't want to queue for that long. And also we had to... That was the day we were leaving, so we didn't want to risk it. So that was annoying. Instead, we did the tram tour, which, again, like the art of Disney, does seem quite aged. It's basically just a little bit that takes you around. You get on a tram. It's not a tram actually. It's just a car. It's just a big car that drives along. You drive around to like a back lot and you see a fake movie production thing and a big special effects scene with a big tanker that gets blown up and then all this water comes and puts it out. That bit's really good. I'm making it sound crap. It's good. Like the amount of water that falls down this little valley bit, it's great. But yeah, just when you're in the car, there are these screens on the front, and it's who is it? It's this woman. I don't know who the woman was, but it's Jeremy Irons as well. You know, voice of Scar from Disney, from Lion King. And they're just talking about how a movie's made, and props and special effects and stuff like that. But it's so old. It must be from the like mid to late 90s. Especially because at one point they talk about mobile phones and they're holding like a Nokia 3210 or something. But yeah, this probably needs to get remade or updated. Just seemed a bit tired. And yeah, that was kind of it for the rides. I think we had one last little walk around the main park with the castle, just to, have a little farewell, and also do a bit of shopping. I had loads of euros left over, so I bought a couple bits. Nothing too fancy though, just some keychains and magnets and all the touristy tat you get. Oh, I did get these nice prints though. Throughout the park they had these posters of some of the attractions done in a sort of nice, I don't know how you describe it, vintage, retro, art deco-y style. I'll put some on screen maybe right now if I remember. I got a set of prints of those because I thought I might want to frame one or two. They do look good. And that was it really. Got the train. Well, I had a Starbucks. Got the train. And made it home. Doesn't really take too long to get back to England really. Takes a couple of hours, which is quite impressive. And yeah, back before you know it. So that was it. That was my trip to Disneyland Paris, the happiest place on earth. Wait, what did I say? Fourth most. And it was really, really good. I really can't say anything bad about the park, really. I thought it was a good value for money. Like maybe I just found a good deal or whatever, but yeah, it ends up costing me personally about 300 quid for the travel, the hotel, and the park. I think that's a bargain, really, for the amount of like it was great. A lot of people have complained. I've read online afterwards that they don't really like the park because it's not as big and weather's not as great. Obviously, it's not going to be as great as California, but or Florida. But they also mentioned about like, oh, you know, the French said they're not as hospitable and they're not as friendly as the American employees. And I've got to disagree with that. I don't think oh god, oh jeez, oh my. These guys are pretty angry. I never really found any rude employees. In fact, most of them were perfectly friendly and fine. So maybe they just have high expectations, these people I'm reading, but no, I think that was not really fair at all. I think the park's great. I would like to go again. I don't know how soon though. I feel like I'd have to forget quite a bit to go again and be surprised again. That being said, I am getting the post-trip blues. You know, when you come back from holiday and you just, you know, your normal life seems so much more boring and grimier, and yeah, that's what I'm going through right now. But it's been nice to talk about it anyway on this video. I just relive some of the memories. Good time, great time. Highly recommend it. Anyway, I'm gonna dig myself into a little hut here. What did I actually get from that trip? Not really much. I just wanted an excuse to ramble, to be honest. Not a single diamond. Hey ho. Yeah, that's me done rambling. What was that? Like maybe an hour overall? I might put it in one video. Might put it in two. Only time will tell. But until next time, well, I might ramble about Canada, but probably save the ramble for a little while yet. Don't want to ramble too much in a row, otherwise you'll be bored to tears. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Oh my god, I forgot one thing. I forgot one major thing. Didn't do many character meet and greets, but I did meet one. I met Goofy, and it was amazing.